What are the ethics of clutter and minimalism? Too much waste? Bad for the environment? This is going to get controversial, but I think it needs to be said. Now, I get questions sometimes about minimalism, the environment, and waste. So let's explore the ethics of clutter and minimalism and what changes we should make. Now, you want a decluttered and tidy home, but does that come at a cost? And what should you do? Hey, I'm Robyn. I help overwhelmed people declutter all of the excess from their lives so that they can start living them. Now grab your tea and let's go. Now, what could possibly be considered ethical issues for minimalism? Well, I've heard some concerns and you might be surprised at what I'm going to suggest here. Now, the first though is that it's bad for the environment with too many people decluttering too many things. When we declutter, some things can't be recycled or donated, which means that they need to be thrown away. Now, this is obviously not good, but what is the solution? Should we just hold on to things? At the end of your life, where will these things end up? If you hold on to them, they will be back in the landfill and you will have had a lifetime of clutter around you if you actually don't declutter them at the time. Take, for example, the 2020 rule that Ryan Nicodemus from The Minimalist suggests. I love this, by the way. It is that if you can replace something for less than $20 in less than 20 minutes, you should declutter it. Well, now we actually are getting into a bit of a difficult area though. First of all, we should always donate whatever we can and sell the valuable things and recycle whenever possible. But that isn't always doable. But that does mean some things do get thrown away. Now, I was explaining this whole theory to my friend Jen, and she really did not like the idea of throwing something away just to replace it. It seemed wasteful, which totally makes sense, but I don't completely agree that this is what's going to happen, because we don't want to be adding things to the landfill, but it's actually probably pretty rare that we actually do replace those things anyway. I mean, a lot of clutter doesn't end up getting replaced, and I think there is often a better solution. One thing that I think we need more of is borrowing and lending. Take my bolt cutters, for example. I made these trellises for my garden. I'm very proud of them. And I needed bolt cutters. So I went to my store and I actually found some that were discounted because the store had used them. I think I got them for like $20, which was a great deal. Now, if anybody ever needs to borrow my bolt cutters, they are here for you. You don't need to buy some because you can borrow mine. And maybe I can borrow something of yours one day. That way we don't need to be buying so many different things. We need to get back to communities where we used to be helping each other and lending and borrowing. So as you may know, I'm a nurse, and in healthcare we throw away massive amounts of things, and it truly is quite sad. I don't know what the solution is for that, but I think there are a lot of changes that we can make at home. Now, I think the main thing is that we buy less. This is actually a huge foundation of minimalism. If you want less stuff, you need to stop buying stuff. Another really important thing is the ethics of gift giving. Now, I know I'm going to get in trouble from my mom, but I am serious. Gift giving is an area that contributes hugely to environmental waste. But there are some other issues as well. We actually contribute to guilt and strange relationship issues. Now, take, for example, me. Now, it was just my birthday, and my mom said, you know, no one knows what to give you because they're afraid you're just going to declutter it all. Now, in all fairness, she is partially right. Sometimes people give you some gifts that you do not want. Now, I'm at the point in my life where I am not going to keep things that don't serve me. I hope that doesn't sound harsh, but clutter is bad for me and is bad for you. Now, I 100% love the fact that people want to show me love with gifts. I think that's so sweet, but I also don't want people to have to feel like they have to show me love with gifts. I don't like the idea of obligatory gift giving in our culture. Now, I'm going to give you some ideas for gifts that are not bad for the environment or for your friendships. Chocolate, canned goodies. At Christmas, I like to make cookies, candied almonds, jams to give people. And the great news is you can use reusable containers for those. Take someone out to lunch, maybe even for dinner. Give them a gift card. There are so many things that you can do. Now, speaking of cards, I know people love giving birthday cards, but either way, they end up in a box that is eventually going to be decluttered, shoved in a closet, or they go straight into the garbage or recycling. Just recently, I found a whole pile that I needed to declutter again, and they were from my childhood basically. And I was looking at them and I was like, they don't have really any sentimental value to me, so I really should not be hanging on to these. And that was after I had actually already decluttered a different box full of gift cards. So it's kind of wasteful. And I know this is crazy controversial, and I know it definitely is in my family, and I'm not going to say stop doing all of these things, because this is part of our culture, but some of the things are adding to the environmental issues if that is a concern for you. What are the ethics of hanging on to things that we don't want to let go? Well, someone else could use it. Just recently I decluttered my baby clothes. Now someone else could use those clothes for their babies. You might be hanging on to things and they might not be serving you, but they could be a blessing to someone else. One other thing that I wanted to get to when it comes to ethics and decluttering and minimizing. And a lot of people in the past have said that they feel like it's kind of like a spoiled Western thing to say, I'm going to be minimalist and have not a lot of things, when a lot of people in the world, of course, don't have a lot of things. And I wanted to touch on that because I feel like it's actually the opposite. I feel like it's more in tune with what life should actually be like, that we should not be striving to have so many things, and that our connection with whether it's God or with nature or other humans or family should take much more priority than does things, because so many people are always striving for more and more things. And I myself in the past have strived for more and more things as well. You know, over the past few years, I've really come to the understanding that life is not about attaining things, and that you will never be happy if that is what you are trying to do, and that ultimately you should be trying to live a life of simplicity, because things are not the answer. So I don't think that you can really compare people wanting to live with less for happiness to people who naturally have less, because obviously that is not a good thing. But if you do have more money as a result of buying less things, you can certainly try to donate money, which is one of the best ways to support people who actually are living with less in Western countries, or your own. You know, in Canada where I am, there are a lot of impoverished people. And one of the things that I really would like to do as my income, you know, will grow hopefully as I go on in life, is to support more people. And when I see a GoFundMe, I want to be able to actually donate to that. And I also want to be able to help people in developing countries internationally. So that is my take on that. Now, there is one more ethical dilemma that I think a lot of people miss, and that is, what are the ethics for yourself of holding on to things that you probably should get rid of? Maybe you have guilt of throwing away things like gifts or whatever into the landfill, even if they will end up there eventually. But also, what are the ethics for yourself? You're not treating yourself well if you're holding on to things forever. I mean, it's just a ton of clutter. Now, not only things, but what are you leaving behind for the others in your life to deal with when you do pass away? I discuss both of these topics in my Swedish death cleaning video here, and I think you should check it out, because I think it will make it a lot easier for you to understand what you should be holding on to and what you should be letting go of. All right, I will see you in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye.